I will ask Aaron the question first, on the first question. Then the second question, you will get the question first. You're both going to be asked the same questions. You do not have a timing. You have to take as long as you need to answer your question. You can give yourself a second or two to think out what I've asked you. You don't have to be bang, bang, bang. What we are interested in is a thoughtful answer. Not just whatever you say because you're in a hurry. I want you to think it out, because this is your last opportunity to really speak to the voters. Okay. What are your 2 top priorities you have in mind for the Sheriff's Department?
That's a good question. I think first one would be is getting with the current employees and talking to them, seeing what their thoughts are, and see what if they think anything needs to be changed, and then try to work together as a group to see what needs to be done in that. Second priority would be you have to look at the budget, but possibly raising the staff to make it to where we can split this county up into zones and have somebody closer for response times and all those things to make it to where those guys get to people faster.
Thank you, Aaron. Jonathan? Same question. What are your 2?
Oh, we're not alternating?
Yes, or alternate. It might not have understood the way I laid it out. Sometimes I'm not specific. It's going to be the same question asked twice, and I'm going to rotate who answers first.
Gotcha.
So your question is, what are your 2 top priorities you have in mind for the Sheriff's Department?
Okay. One of the top priorities, obviously, is increasing staff, budget pending. In a perfect world, we would love to have more deputies that are actively patrolling our areas. With having court, transports, trying to have a school resource officer, it is hard to get an increased staff with 906 square miles with a budget. It's budget pending for everything. So I do want to look at increasing staff. That is, one of our priorities that we already are looking at doing as we speak. Number 2 is actively patrolling, working on community relations. Still working on trying to find those areas where some people feel that they may be left out, feel like the lost people, where they may always feel that cops are always in town. Trying to figure out if there is something that may be petty to them that could be something important to us. So we need to step up those active roles and help build those relationships back up with the community members.
Jonathan, do you think it's important to have a relationship with your local police departments in your county?
Absolutely.
And how do you plan to do this?
One of the ways to do this is trying to work on training. See if we can work on trainings together. We all have schools that are incorporated together. We all have crimes that incorporate together. Trying to see what's the best way for agency heads to see if we can't make quarterly, monthly, something that we can do to try to figure out, is your town having more issues? If there's something that our agency can do to help with cases that you may have. Sheriff's offices are known to have sometimes more resources than municipalities. Sometimes more municipalities have more resources than sheriff's departments. But I want to work on building those relationships up to where if they do call, if they do need help, we're there to provide that assistance for whatever's needed.
Thank you. Aaron, same thing. Do you think it's important to have a relationship with your local police departments?
Yes, I do.
And how do you plan to do that?
Say that again, sorry.
How do you plan to have a relationship with your local police departments?
It's not to a similar place that I think we need to get together with these chiefs of police and everybody in the county and get with them and see if we can come together and find a good date for us to meet monthly I think monthly would probably be sufficient. Meet monthly and talk to everybody, see what your problems are, just the communication and letting everybody know what's going on in the entire community.
Thank you. Now here's a budget question. Do you see your budget as the absolute spending limit?
Well, there are budget amendments. There's always things that happen throughout the year that you can't foresee. This car got wrecked, something happened, you know, there's stuff that could happen throughout the year. So you're going to be pretty strict on that budget, but you have to account for other things too. Something happens. So
And the follow-up, sorry.
Go ahead.
My follow-up is, are you planning to pursue other avenues for money?
For money, you can for grants. Here at the school last year, we got with the school and got a grant to, I think it was $90,000, something like that, to provide the school with that officer. And it comes with other security stuff, and we can look into that with the other schools in this community, Omega, Dover, those things, to see if we can get with them to help provide the money for those officers.
Jonathan, do you see your budget as an absolute limit on your spending?
It's not an absolute limit. We are conservative with our spending. We want to try to be money conscious. Again, this is people's money. It is taxpayer money. So therefore, we have to look and address things where it needs to be at. You know, payroll for the sheriff's office alone is $1.2 million. Payroll for the jail alone is $1.2 million. Our budget in total is over $4 million. So that's a lot of money to be responsible for, to make sure that you're being financially savvy with and fiscally. So it's nice to be a little conservative. My plan is to always hopefully try to give money back if we don't need it, to help be conservative. There's always room for improvements of things, but always trying to get, you know, with the budgeting committee, trying to help make sure that we have what we need that's best for not only the department, but for our community. I want to make sure we have the best equipment, vehicles, personnel that we can, because we don't make great money. So anything that we can do to help provide that would be a great thing.
And are you planning to pursue other avenues for money?
Yes, there are grants that are available. We have quarter-cent sales tax that we have a half-cent sales tax that we have. At points, those are going to run out at a certain time limit. So the sheriff has to go out and basically campaign again, and has to get community members back on board, because if those sales tax run out and they don't get renewed, then that's going to come back out of the general budget, and that's going to hurt more whenever the sheriff has to go to the commissioners, which is basically ask the public for more money. So we want to try to be money conscious with that.
One of the reasons I'm asking you this is because Casey Murdoch from Woodward County got a bill passed this year to give rural sheriffs communities grants. So there are new grants out there. Okay.
I think I was first that time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
1, 2, 3. Yeah. So you're next.
yes.
I know, I was gonna use them. Do you think it's important to form relationships with your local communities?
We'll be specific on local, because as the
Like
county,
so
because
you're
there's
at the
multiple
county.
counties, or multiple.
Yes, like Loyal, Hennessey. Oh,
Dover,
Kingfisher.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
because
that's-
we don't
and
we don't
Kingfisher.
know who you guys are. We don't ever see you up here in the north. We don't ever see you guys. But we have Lions Club meetings. We have Hennessey
I see what you're saying.
Ministerial Alliance. We have what's the other one?
Okay, too.
OK2A meetings. Yes, we have OK2A meetings every month. You have opportunities to go into your communities and meet with your
Absolutely.
local people.
Absolutely.
We would like you to do that. Are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that something that you're thinking about?
Yeah, we got to be invited. Got to know about them. I mean, I
Right.
don't know what their schedules are, to have time
Right.
to talk to them, and you know, those are always a great way to go out and reach community members.
Right.
So, got to know about them.
Okay. Same question. Are you planning on forming relationships with your local communities?
Yeah, I am. I think right now, just where I'm at now, I don't have the same connection with other communities that I do Hennessey, but I think I do a pretty good job of being in the community, being seen, being at events, being at things, and being, I said in our last debate, just being approachable and being at these places and letting people bring their problems to you. And my intention, yeah, I would be able, as long as I would be able to, scheduling wise, to come to as many of those meetings as I possibly could.
Right. The greatest issue I have as a county resident is lack of deputies on duty. Do you have any plan to change this?
I think both of us kind of addressed it earlier. That would be
Right.
really depend on the budget and see what the budget allows you to do. Depending on that budget, of course, I would love to have as many deputies as possible. I think anybody who's an administrator would love to have 1,000 people out there working for them to be able to do those things to make everybody feel safer. Obviously, the budget and stuff just don't allow for that. So yeah, I would always push to have as many deputies as I possibly could have, and the budget would allow.
Greatest issue I have as a rural Kingfisher County resident is lack of deputies on duty. Do you have a plan to change this?
Yes, currently I'm working on hiring more people. You have to follow the budget, as we were saying before. However, you also have to be conscious with trying to find the right deputies to retain. In a perfect world, I'd love to have 2 deputies out per shift. But with budget, it makes it a lot harder. It's hard to ask why you need more money for just guys. You as a county resident wants to know why are they spending more money. So yes, I would love to have more deputies out. I mean, I'm an undersheriff. I'm even out working constantly. I mean, it's part of the job.
Okay, both of you are going to be first term, whichever one wins. Do you have a plan to find resources to help you be a successful sheriff? Do you need an example?
Oh, you're talking about like schools and training?
No, like training or networking with other sheriffs, or do you have an idea of where you can get information to help you be the best you can be as a first-term sheriff?
Well, there's the Sheriff's Academy that you have to go to. It's a 2-week-long school. Networking with current seated sheriffs is always a great tool to have with your surrounding ones. If there are other counties that may be similar in populous size, to see kind of where they're at, how they're doing things, if their budgets are kind of the same, see what's working best for them. But using resources is always the best tool that you can have in reaching out to those people.
Same question for Aaron. Both of you are first term. Do you have a plan to find resources to help you be a successful sheriff?
Yeah, I do. Like you said, you go to the class, the 2-week-long class, and through the DARE program. When I went to the DARE program, I know a few different sheriffs. I'd probably reach out to surrounding people, Corey Rink and Chris West, and bounce ideas off them. And because, like you said, either one of us have ever done this job. I may be a chief of police, he may be the undersheriff, but either one of us has ever been what Dennis is. I mean, none of us ever do that. You won't really know until you sit in that chair and do the job. You may think you do, but when I took over as chief, I thought I knew a little bit about the job. I had no idea. So I think reaching out and having those people to lean on is the best thing to do.
As top law enforcement officer, you alone have the authority in your county over all other departments, including the federal government and federal agencies. If a federal agency enters your county to enforce a federal law that goes against your local and state laws, are you prepared to stand for the citizens of your county? Specific, you want a specific?
Yeah, please.
Okay, let's say the federal government decides to do a gun grab. That's illegal in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And they come into your county and want to go door knocking to grab guns. What are you going to, I'm not asking you to write this in stone. I'm just saying, what's your opinion? What do you think? Because you have the authority to not allow them.
Yeah, that's good. That would be going against what the people's rights are. They could ask me, they wouldn't like the answer when they talk to me about going to take people's guns and taking something away that's their right. that's a tricky question. I don't foresee that happening, but if it were to happen, that's my stance would be. I would have a very strong stance on that. That's not going to happen in this county. Yeah.
Jason.
John.
Jonathan. I apologize.
It's okay.
I'm bad
It's
with
been
names.
called worse.
As the top law enforcement officer, you alone have authority in your county over all other law enforcement departments, including federal. If the federal agencies enter your county to enforce a federal law that goes against the local and state laws, are you prepared to stand for the citizens of your county?
Yes, it is a tricky one. And again, you got to be kind of teetered on the edge, because is it pertaining to a federal investigation? Because you can't hinder into that. But if you're going off your example as previous with a gun grab, that's where I believe people will stand up and go against that, where we will as well. We're not going to like allowing people to just take random guns, but if it's part of an investigation, obviously talking to them will be a complete different story. But yeah, just doing gun grabs and going against people's constitutional rights and Fourth Amendment rights and stuff, that's definitely something we'll stand against.
Okay, in that kind of thought, what is your stand on local militia if the situation calls for it? Yeah, a tough one.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. Never been in that situation. You hear about them, but it's just one of those deals that I have to do some more research into it to figure out where that line teeters.
Aaron, what is your stand on a local militia if the situation calls for it?
You may not like it. You're going to get pretty much the same answer. That'd be a lot of research and looking into those people, and I would have to do some research on that and really dig into it and see if there's any ulterior motives behind it or anything like that. I would want to know exactly what was going on.
Why I have this in my mind is because the influx of illegal immigration in even our county is actually reaching pretty critical stages. And there seem to be mostly younger men. And we don't know what if their ulterior motives aren't for our best interest. That's the reason I'm asking this.
Yeah.
Because it's not impossible that this is going to happen. Okay, I'm going to pick up one of these. Most of the counties in the state of Oklahoma's sheriffs have signed a declaration of intent to make their counties a sanctuary state for the Second Amendment. This is an example I'm giving you from Grant County Sheriff. Let it be known that the Grant County Sheriff hereby expresses his intent to oppose any and all infringements on the rights and liberties of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms using such legal means as may be expedient, including without limitation court action. Let it be known that the Grant County Sheriff hereby expresses his intent that no public funds will be used in any manner to restrict the Second Amendment rights of the citizens of Grant County or to aid federal, state, or any municipal agencies in the restriction of said rights. Let it be known that the undersigned Grant County Sheriff hereby declares Grant County as a Second Amendment sanctuary county. Kingfisher County, if you look at the Second Amendment map that the other sheriffs have signed, is one of the few counties that have not signed this letter of intent. What I would like to know is, would you be willing to sign a letter of intent to protect your citizens' rights?
Out of the, I don't know who's going.
I don't know. You go ahead.
No, it's an odd number. It's you
is it?
first.
Okay.
Okay. I had no idea who was up.
It's you.
I would have to do a lot more research on that. Anytime you're signing something that says something like this, you're going to want the opinion of an attorney. So, I would research it. Do I agree with a lot of these things that are being said? Absolutely. But I would, before deciding something, I do a lot of research. I'm the kind of person, if you buy a car, I read every single paper. So, I would do some research behind this and talk to an attorney and see what holds up and what doesn't.
And I'm not asking if you would sign this.
No, yeah, I understand. Yeah, you draw something of your own.
Create your
Yeah,
own.
yeah.
Okay, same question to you. Would you,
So, and I do have a question. You said most counties in Oklahoma, so of 77, how many of the
the
sheriffs
extreme panhandle and the extreme southeast?
do you have a rough number, like 20 counties, 22,
I'm
65?
sorry, I have a, there's,
I don't know how many.
the majority of counties have signed this.
Okay. And that's just something like, I want more research on it. I mean,
Okay.
like I said, it's talking about not using public funds, but yet defending citizens. So where's that line at? Because
Right.
if you're not using public funds, how do you defend citizens?
What he's
that
saying
one.
is you're not gonna use public, you are not gonna send your sheriff deputies out to infringe upon my rights. You're not gonna spend my tax money in employee wages to infringe upon my constitutional rights as a citizen of the state of Oklahoma.
Which I think is what we kind of discussed on a little bit ago, saying
Right.
that, we're not here to take people's guns away and
Right.
go against, or go with federal regulations.
It's
and
not
that
even
kind of stuff.
necessary, right.
So more research need to be had into that and looked into it, and maybe talk to other sheriffs of other counties to see, what is
There's-
more, looking at one versus looking at others and see
Sure.
how they're all worded.
Okay, that's all of my questions. Do we have any questions from the floor? Yes.
I want to ask, well, first of all, I know you haven't been feeling well, and so we appreciate that you're
We did
here.
say that at the
Yes,
beginning, yes.
But my question is, what do you see as the biggest problem in the sheriff's department right now, and how do you plan to address that?
Who's turn it?
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Rock, paper, scissors. Understaffing right now is our biggest problem. I mean, that is truly our biggest problem that we have. We're to the point that, we're a couple deputies short. We're potentially fixing to lose another one. Excuse me. We're having to do call-out sessions, potentially looking at. And so that hurts. That's a big detriment to our county residents. I've even gone as far, I've taken call-outs. I'm going to make sure our citizens are taken care of. I'm a working guy right now. I plan on being a working sheriff whenever I come in. It's not only we do 10-hour shifts, a 7 to 5, but it's a 24-hour day a job, 365 days a year. So you got to do what you got to do to make the job happen. I want to make sure that we are getting the best qualified people for our county, for the residents. So we're trying to do what we can to get that staffing brought back up, because you as a resident just doesn't want some random guy that's in here that might do something dumb, violate somebody's rights, pay out a lawsuit. So we're trying to weed out bad applicants, try to make the best thing we can for you guys.
Can you ask it one more time?
Sure. What do you think is the biggest problem in the sheriff's department currently, and how do you plan to address that?
Without working there, it's not fair for me to say. I would agree that the only thing I can say is the staff, because I can see them. We all work on we use the same system, so I can see how many people they have on. It's the staffing, and it goes back to the budgeting stuff. And if it allows it, sounds like he's working on it, so we may allow it right now. But increasing the staff and making sure that staff has good quality training and they're learning the way they're supposed to.
Yes, ma'am.
I already asked Gary this question last time we had one of these, but I wanted to ask Jonathan. On the jail, would you prefer, your preference only, would you prefer to stay underneath the sheriff's department or under a trust?
I honestly would need to look into that because I think there's pros and cons, maybe both sides of it, and not being able to see those yet. And I do want to do some research into it because, with the trust, it kind of takes it off the sheriff's back. So I want to look into those things to see if it's beneficial or if it's not beneficial before I could give you a real answer to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
what was Aaron's answer?
Okay, I'll tell you. I don't know if I remember. This was a long time ago. I'll get pretty close to what it was. No, this is the last time we had an event here. You weren't here, so yeah. The trust.
The question is, would you like to see the jail
in a trust.
Under
Under the sheriff's department?
the sheriff's
I think-
department or under a
I
trust?
think the thought of a trust is a good idea, but like Jonathan said, there's a lot. I don't know anything about trust, or I don't know anything about that jail. So the thought of a trust seems good, but without doing more research, like I said, you just don't know. There are going to be pros and cons to each. I think having it in that trust would probably help the sheriff out quite a bit. I don't know. I'd have to ask Dennis. But the thought of it would be good, but there's more research.
Any more questions? Okay, I have two that were in the bowl. Start with you.
Okay, excuse me.
What, if any, new laws would you like to see to help you in your job?
Well,
How long do we have?
do what?
How long do we have?
Yeah, I was gonna say, we have dinner getting ready to be made. So the biggest deal is I want to see let's go back, the marijuana laws. When that got passed into medical, it decriminalized a lot of our drug classifications. It changed everything down to misdemeanors. So now we have people that are habitually offending who not even getting slaps on the wrist anymore. I mean, it's just, might as well give them a $500 Amazon gift card and say, see you next time. It's sad to see the world that we have come to, that our politicians, our leaders, the people who truly say they care about our communities and everything, to allow something like this to happen, because you can literally be smoking methamphetamine on school grounds with children present, and it is a misdemeanor classification now. So that makes it hard for us to continuously work drug cases and try to do stuff and lock people up, because usually they have bonded out before we even got a report turned into the district attorney's office. Because a methamphetamine charge, heroin, cocaine, it's a $1,000 bond. That's it. So I would love to see a revampment of our drug charges. Now, I'm not saying every drug person needs to be locked up in prison, throw away a key. We do need some rehabilitation, but something's got to give. I mean, that's our biggest deal, because once that marijuana law changed, it changed a lot of other things.
Same thing. What, if
Still
any, new laws would you like to see to help you in your job?
New laws. I was going to go with that, but so I guess I'm going to try to go a different direction. I've talked to a lot of people, and there's drinking, driving, or driving impaired in general in this country as a whole. I don't know that we as a society do enough to stop that. I'll just be honest. I would like to see something put in place where it could be a little more restrictive on, because here, especially in Royal Oklahoma, we don't have Uber and all these other places to do that. But I think if we tried harder as a society to stop that from happening, we could do it. There's many different ways we could do that. I was going to go with the marijuana laws and drug laws and all that stuff. They're incredibly understaffed too. I mean, the people who go look at these grows and all this stuff, by the time they're done going through their cycle, they'll start right back over, So we definitely weren't restrictive enough on the marijuana laws. And I've had people in Colorado was like, you guys screwed up big time. Like, you guys did not do this right. Because they're saying in ways that our marijuana laws are less restrictive than theirs. You don't have to have any card to go back there. So those are some couple things I think I'd like to see changed.
And here is the last question. I'll start with, will you be a working sheriff or strictly an administrative figure?
I'll be a working sheriff. I'm a working chief right now, so I think anybody who's at our last debate, I can't sit in an office all day. I have to walk around the stage the entire time. I'm going to be a working sheriff. I would never ask somebody to do something I would not do myself. People will be seeing me. I'll be out there with all the guys. We'll be making arrests, doing all those things, making traffic stops, whatever it is, serving warrants. I will absolutely be a working sheriff.
Thank you. Same thing,
I got a
Jonathan.
question.
But,
Okay,
no, in order. Will you be a working sheriff
Set up the last question.
or strictly an administrative figure?
I'll be a working sheriff. There are times that you have to be in an administrative role, but I want to be, as much as possible, a working sheriff. I'm already getting told that I need to be home more than I do at the office. So It's just part of that job. I mean, it's that commitment and the love I have for not only our department, but for our community.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
that's okay. You're,
First off, I thought whenever you get caught with meth at school, that it's an automatic felony. Or church.
Used to be.
That sucks.
Yeah, 2016 is when they changed all that.
Well, to me, life's about consequences, and it helps people stay straight. Since our state voted for that, it kind of sucks, so I just blocked that out. But my question to y'all is, if a drug addict, I'm trying to state, if a drug addict was to show up at your, if you was the sheriff, either one of you, and a drug addict showed up and he was on his last run and he needs someone to talk to, how would y'all handle that?
Whose turn is it? I went first last time.
Aaron, no, it's Jonathan.
I still always want to try to help people. I always want to try to still help people. I mean, you can only help somebody so much. Even today on a call that I was on, a girl that I was talking to on a call, I know that she's still been using, and even I'm trying to still help her. What can I do to get you into rehab to get you off this? And it's still, you've got to make them want to do it on their own, but at some point, punishment, as you say, consequences, have to step in at some point also to where they are held responsible for actions to where that might straighten them up.
Will you ask me one more time, Dre?
If a drug addict had relapsed and was just really on his last rung, he needed someone to talk to, and you're at work, and all of a sudden you get the doorbell and the secretary said that so-and-so's here wanting to talk to you. And somebody come in there and sat down and tried to talk to you, how would you handle that?
I mean, I would handle it like I would with anybody, like I would with my own family member. They come in, if you need help, I'm going to help you. I'll do everything that I possibly can to get you help. Like he said, sometimes the help that somebody needs is going to jail. Not everybody deserves to go to jail. But like here, I have an open door policy. I mean, of course, there's no other door you got to go through first, but you can eventually get through that door to get to me. I mean, I don't know how many times people approach me at home even, and hey, I need help with this or I need help with that. I'll do the best I can to help those people. There's all kinds of outreach programs you can get in contact with.
I'll interject. That's one of the reasons why being involved in your local communities will help you, because a lot of local churches do have programs to help this exact situation. And if you are in tune with your local communities, then you can get them help.
A lot of them have shut down too, though, because they have been burnt many times.
Right.
So it's slowly starting to get back up. About every church in Kingfisher used to do it. We're down to one now that does. So, and it's because they've been burnt so much. And I hate to see that somebody's reaching out a hand trying to help these people, and it just is taken advantage of.
Right.
I mean, here the Minnesota Alliance, I mean, helps with some of that stuff, get some rooms and stuff like that, help get food. There's outreach programs and stuff you can, even if it's not, maybe if it's not in this, the best place for them, not in this community. Sometimes people need to get out of the community they're in, you get into a different one to get some help. Get away from those people that could be bad influences. You get them to maybe Garfield County, Enid, or Oklahoma City, or find a place in Edmond, or wherever to help them get away from the situation. Sometimes that's all they need.
Yeah, there is a good one in Enid, Forgotten Ministries, and there's another one in El Reno. I'm the secretary at the Methodist Church, and I take all the Ministerial Alliance calls, and there are places. There, and I'm sure Kingfisher has them too. Being in contact with your local communities will help you out in that. Okay, any
I've got a
more
question.
questions?
Susan,
Yes.
can you guys give us a little brief history and kind of why we should vote for you?
Okay.
That's a good one. Well, I just thought while we're here, and not just kind of introduction and why we should vote for you.
I guess none of us introduced ourselves, did we really? For those of you who don't know me, my name's Aaron Pitts. I'm currently the chief of police here in Hennessey. I've been the chief so I took over in February of 2022. So I've been in Hennessey for 7 years, a little over 7 years. I started in Enid in 2016, worked there for a little less than a year. for a whole lot of reasons, it wasn't working out for me there. So I came here. The chief at the time was Hank Weber. And he really, I mean, helped me out a lot. He took me in and said, "Yo, I'll give you a shot." Yeah. And at the time, I didn't know what I was going to do. And for some reason, law enforcement is always. I wasn't the person who grew up thinking I'm going to be in law enforcement. I was not that guy. I was the guy who wanted to go play pro football, and that did not happen, clearly. But I always had a constant need to want to help people. And that's the only reason I do this job. I don't do it for fame, anything like that. I'm the chief of police. I mean, most of the people in this town call me by my first name, you know. So it's important to me to have relationships with people and make people feel welcome in your community. And as a whole, it'll be harder to do as a sheriff, but being seen and being out in all these communities and letting them know, hey, I'm here if you need anything, and making it to where they feel comfortable talking to me.
I think it means a lot to be approachable. Thank you.
So I'm Jonathan Riedlinger. Been in law enforcement since 2005. Started with Kingfisher Police Department in 2013, I think is whenever I left there. Went to the sheriff's office. Did a first run with them for a little bit. Left, went to a car dealership down in Okarche after I had a knee injury. Got myself healed back up, and then came back to the sheriff's office in 2020, I believe, 2019, 2020. Obviously, I'm not from this area. I grew up in the Panhandle, where everything just blows by you. You see your dog run away for 4 days. That's where I did a lot of my raising up there. I got an opportunity to come to Kingfisher, and I loved it. You know, moved here in 2004, and never thought I would stay here. You know, I'm kind of a easy-go guy. I had no problem with just packing up and leaving my family behind in Beaver, and just moved. And so I was like, well, I'll try it out here for a little bit, and I felt really connected from the police department with the community, and then started working at the sheriff's office and outreaching to more community members and everything. It's just, this reminded me a lot of home. It's just, you wave at people, they wave back. You know, it's not like Oklahoma City where people try to run you off the road. I'm always looking at trying to not only better myself, I want to better our department, better our community. So I'm always, here the last 4.5 months with being the undersheriff, I've been overworking myself. I feel like I've done more in the last 3.5 years than I've seen in the last 3.5 months than I have 3 years. With just trying to do more things that I'm wanting to see. I've got a big vision for things that I'm wanting to bring to everybody. It's going to take time. And so with time, I hope everybody can understand and be willing and understanding that, you know, things will happen and it'll be better for the whole entire community.
Thank you. Thank you both for the job you do.
If we have any last question, this is your last opportunity. Well, I want to thank you both very much for coming, and thank you, Aaron, for coming when you don't feel good. We really appreciate it.
Right.
Thank
That's
you
what
for
anybody
Jonathan driving up
Yeah,
from Kingfisher.
absolutely.
And we're glad to get to meet you, and we wish you both success. And no matter what happens, you're both still
We're going to be working together.
good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we're grateful for you for coming, and thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.